Well, thank you for tuning in to The Power of Sticking Together with me, your host, Leisha LaTrimble. I am so glad that you decided to tune in to listen today because you are in for a treat. And the reason why I'm saying this, I have someone that decided to come grace my platform that haven't been on here for a while. I have known him all of my adult life. Listen, we started kicking in my 20s and we are still kicking it. As a matter of fact, I believe I met you in my 20s, like 20 years old. Yeah. And since then, oh Lordy, how long ago it's been since I met you?
A long time.
A long time. Y'all hear that voice? A long time. Yeah, I'm so glad. Listen, when he decided to come back on here, he was like, hey, I want to go ahead and, do a podcast with you. I say less. Let's let this work. So without further ado, let me introduce you to my husband. The children that I have are also his children. Yeah. Ain't that a beautiful thing?
That's a wonderful thing.
That I only have one baby daddy, right?
I'm their father.
You're their father. You see that? He more than a baby daddy. I got a true man that's a father to the children that we both brought into this world. So, Elder Trimble, how are you today?
I'm blessed and highly favored of the Lord.
Okay, so let's get straight to it. I remember when I first met you, and I was like, okay, we met like in my 20s, and we just started like talking. You made it seem like, no, I'm too old to be dating, like, So, but we were talking. We was riding in the car, and you used to always say things. And I used to be like, man, he's so cocky, but I don't know. It was kind of like turning me on at the same time. I'm just saying. So I had asked, I was like, why are you so cocky? Like, what gives you the right to speak like you speak? Why are you talking like that? Do you remember what you told me?
No, that's been a long time ago. Refresh my memory.
You was like, God created, we are a little what?
Oh, I told you that we're little G gods. So when God made us in his image, the same power that he has, we have. When we follow his lead, guide, and direction, when we have that personal relationship with God, we can speak things as not as though they were. And so when you understand the power of God and the way God works, you just speak things and believe it, because he said in his word that just the faith of a mustard seed. A lot of people don't know how small a mustard seed is. It's smaller than a grain of sand. That's all the belief that you need to activate the power of God and allow it to work in your life. And I just understood it, and I walked in it, and I just believed God for it, and it happened.
Yes, I was like, okay, I actually witnessed these things happening. So I was like, sis, you need to get yourself together, because you are not activating and walking in that true authority of God, but he has placed in you to be able to speak things as though they what?
Speak things not as though they were.
That part. So since then, that was like in our early part of, we want to call it dating, right? He don't want to call it dating, but that's exactly what we were doing. On my end, we were dating, but he was like, I know I'm looking for a wife. I ain't got time to be out here dating. Either you going to be the one or not. No, I'm kidding. He ain't say it like that. It took some time. But that's in your 20s. You are now in your mid, not quite late, but almost late 50s. Okay, so, and it's been over 20 something plus years of us being married, right? And I ask you that directly because I wanted to see, do you still believe that you still possess that same power? Oh, I'm getting personal now. Do you still believe that you possess that same power now that you had in our very beginning stage of our dating, in spite of what you're going through now, do you think you still possess that G God in you? Like, it's the God in me. Hey, that part, I just want to know.
God is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. He doesn't change. So if he don't change and I'm trying to be Christ-like, why should I change? The power is still there. I'm still packing dunamis power, the miracle working power of God.
Okay, so listen, the reason why I asked, some of you may or may not know, my husband has been dealing with kidney disease for about how long, honey?
4 years.
About 4 years or so. And we recently went and did this whole examination, like a yearly exam. And the doctor was just giving us updates. Very healthy, very healthy. I often call him my hero because he don't understand why I do that. But I watch him go to work. I watch him still take care of the family. I watch him still do the things that he did when we first met. Now, he may not be up there like moving all quick, like running all fast and stuff, but he still keep his step and he still do what he needs to do. So I wanted to know, do he feel like because God has not changed your situation, because, you could speak a word. Obviously, people say if you speak it, it should happen, right? That's what people feel as though if I speak that I'm healed. Because you are a Christian, you also, a lot of us look up to you as a man of God, okay? Why do you believe it has not happened? Like, what is taking God so long for this miracle? Because you this G God. So what makes it now different, that he hasn't moved? Or have you ever even asked God, heal me?
The question, let me answer it this way. In studying God's words, you understand when you first get saved, God does a lot of things in your life, to build your faith. There are many levels in Christ. So to answer your question is I asked God to heal me. Matter of fact, when I was laying on my back in the hospital, God came to me and told me, he said, son, you're going to walk into your healing. So I didn't understand what that meant. But, I thought I was supposed when I got to the hospital, just go walking, and maybe jog here and there. That wasn't what God was talking about. The point of why God haven't done it yet, point blank, is that the Apostle Paul, when he had that thorn in his side, he went to God 3 times. And what did God tell him? He said, my grace is sufficient. See, God know us better than we know ourselves. God knew that if he would have moved that thorn out his side, homeboy probably would have went back acting all wild and crazy like he used to. A lot of times this happened just to show God's power that he don't have to move the thorn for you to still do what you're supposed to do, act like you're supposed to act, accomplish what you're supposed to accomplish. That shouldn't be something that hinders you or, throw you off rail. You should always operate, how God intended for you to do.
So you feel as though what you're going through now, at the same time, you on this waiting list and you believe in God to do one or the other, either bring you a new kidney or divinely heal you, but you're not going to eliminate what he called you to do. Is that what you basically saying?
That's exactly what I said.
That's exactly what you're saying. And I think that's a powerful thing because sometimes we have a tendency to feel when God doesn't move like we think he should move. It makes us feel like maybe it's me. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Or maybe I'm not doing my part. Like when Job went through what he went through and everybody was like, Job, you shouldn't have did what you did. Now look what you done did to your whole family. A lot of times people may think you going through something because it's something you did, okay? And I want to touch on that because a lot of times, not throw in race, but it is a fact that among blacks, especially men, we have a tendency to ignore those things that causes kidney failure, from high blood pressure, from good health, things that we should have practiced along the way. If you had the opportunity to speak to a group of men or to just talk to even women that are raising young men, what is something that you would tell them to do to help them stay healthy and to control like their blood pressure?
Well, believe it or not, I dealt with blood pressure problems back when I was in middle school. It was because I was overweight. Back then, I used to be chubby. My dad used to have to take me to Sears, and they had the skinny department and they had the husky department. And I used to have to buy all my clothes in the husky department. So
Overweight lover in the house. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Draw your mind in. So I had to shop in the husky department. So I went to the doctor because when you play football, you had to get these physicals. And the doctor always told me my weight was a problem, that I need to lose weight. So when I finally got my weight up under control, I want to say I was like 16 or 17 years old. I was playing football, I was playing soccer, and I was on the wrestling team.
Wow.
So I was doing all that just to keep my weight up under control. But see, I didn't know that it was just keeping my weight up under control. It was due to eating right, going to the doctor, getting these different tests done. Back when we was growing up, our parents ain't believe in going to doctors and hospitals.
Oh, who you telling?
They was with them old remedies,
yes.
Drink this or drink that. We'll give you some cod liver oil or Father
Go get
John.
moss from off the tree and boil it. Gotcha.
Yeah. So, but now since, we're a little bit more wiser now, we go to the hospital and, we do what the doctor said. We take these tests, and just because, you're young and you think you can eat and drink and do anything that you figure you big enough and bad enough to do, later in life, it catches up with you. So you be smart about it. While you're young, you can have an awesome, older life.
So you do what you're supposed to do now, healthy-wise. So when you get your age, you can live a more healthier life. Not because you're not a heavy person. If people look at your physique, they'll be like, oh, he looks strong. He looks very nice looking. And so we have a tendency to think because we are built certain kind of way, we shape certain kind of way, that we're healthy. But what you're saying is not the outward appearance, it's what we're placing on the inside. What was some of those things? I remember this like yesterday. Do you remember this? We used to have a refrigerator. Don't tell me not talk about it. We used to have a refrigerator in our bedroom. Remember, we had this big old huge bedroom. You decided to bring a mini kitchen in the bedroom. And I remember saying to you, why do we need a refrigerator in the room? And you said, because I don't feel like walking downstairs to go get whatever I need to go get. If I got a refrigerator all already up here and I'm sitting in my man chair, I could just go to the refrigerator and go get what I need to get. And then I was like, well, that's kind of lazy. You can walk downstairs. And then you had a whole store, because we had this big old huge closet, and half of the closet was like a little mini store. And I was like, why are you eating all this stuff? Do you remember that?
I remember it.
Do you remember I said enough was enough? Get the kitchen out of the bedroom. If you want something to eat, you're going to have to go downstairs. I think back then, because you was like, I'm burning it off anyway. Wasn't that your thing? You was like, I'm going to work it out. You went to the gym so faithfully that even after church, where were you after church?
In the gym.
In the gym. Oh my gosh. I'm going to be honest with y'all. I hated it. Not because he was taking care of his health, but I often used to remind him, you doing all this working hard, and then you putting that junk back in your body. And he used to always say to me, what?
Feels good.
So those are some of the things that I believe we don't take in consideration when we're working out. We think we work out to eat what we want to eat, but it's the total opposite. You eat the way you eat so that you can continue to work out later, right?
That's right.
So that was my whole thing of just asking and knowing what would you be able to share with other young men. Let's kind of go back to that blood pressure medicine and the intake and the damage that it causes to your kidneys. And not knowing, not being educated, what you can and cannot control. You know, what your body type is going through. Nothing against any of the doctors, whether we find them at fault or not. We all contribute to being healthy for ourselves, right?
That's right.
And we have to learn how to educate ourselves. So what is some of the things that you would tell someone that is borderline going through high blood pressure? And they may be young or they may be old and they think, oh, I can control it. And all I got to do is do what they tell you to do because they kept saying, work out, it help lower your blood pressure. So what would you like, just go into that for me?
Well, for the blood pressure thing, first of all, your salt intake, you want to minimize that. And basically what you did was you went to start cooking with herbs. You got to find the herbs that go well with the food that you like to eat to get rid of the salt. You do your chives and, you know, all the other stuff you use like oregano.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Take the salt out, like what I cook with just herbs. Okay, I got
Or
you.
you can cook with Miss Dash. You know, she have about 7 or 8 or maybe 10 different flavors or whatever. Like if you like eggs, use the chipotle kind. That's a good, you know, spice and a good taste on your eggs, and it's a good taste on your chicken as well. And, you know, do a little paprika, you know, just basically herbs and seasons that doesn't have all that salt into it. And then second of all, you have to watch the food that you buy. That processed food is bad for you also, because when your kidneys is going through a transition of getting worse, that phosphate in the food, it messes with your kidneys. It messes with your bowel movements. It messes with your bladder. I mean, it's just a combination of things. So you basically have to eat wisely. You know, your fruit and vegetables you want to eat, but you want to eat them fresh. You know, try to stay away from canned foods. And if you do canned foods, always, you know, wash them real good. You know, like if we doing canned string beans, I wash them like 3 or 4 times to wash all that processed stuff out of it. And then I just season it with the natural season that we have at the house. And, you know, it's still, you know, a little bit better for you other than the frozen or just the fresh. But blood pressure wise, as far as that medicine, I went to a doctor. He controlled it for a while. But then when I ran out of medicine, and that doctor, he had moved out of the country because he had to go back and take care of his mama. The doctor was Skip. When I lost Dr. Skip, I was upset. So I got this other doctor, and he prescribed blood pressure medicine, and it was shutting down some of the organs in my body. So then I went to a different doctor, and that doctor told me that you're a black man. Black men only take certain type of blood pressure medicine. The type of blood pressure medicine he giving you would end up eventually killing you.
Wow.
So I went from that doctor. He was an Indian doctor out in Mandarin in Jacksonville. I left him and came to this other doctor who was a full medicine doctor, and she just was basically throwing prescriptions at me. And she really wasn't acting right, I can say. And then, just start taking them different blood tests. And when, as they say, it's all in the blood, well, it's in the blood. The blood, shows, how your body is responding to these different type medicines or whatever. I went through like 4 or 5 different medicines before she found the right type of medicine to give me. So it's just, first of all, you had to find, internal medicine doctor?
Internal medicine doctor.
And you have to make sure that they know how to treat African-American people. Because when I went out to Mayo Clinic, the first doctor out there, which Mayo, they do a lot of studies out there. He asked, well, did your doctor do this? Or did your doctor do that? Or did this doctor, take this test? Or did she
Well,
see
hold
this
up, back up a little bit, because we didn't go to Mayo until after you started dialysis.
Correct.
And so the doctor that you're talking about now is now your actual doctor you go to concerning, and I don't want to use terminology and stuff like that. I want to make it plain. It was your kidney specialist that actually does surgery once the transplant comes in. So this doctor was asking all the questions. Well, did your doctor make sure this was happening? And what was crazy about it, he said this to us. He said, I just wish y'all would have came here first. But we did not know that Mayo at that time, just being educated wise, we did not know that we could have came or went or even considered them first for your situation, because we're a working class family and we just got good health benefits and insurance, and whoever they say we go to on that list, that's who we go to. But it took you to go through and have this situation to realize that everything that we would have went through in Mayo would have been paid just like if we would have went to any physician through any other hospital. And so we came a little bit, we're now becoming a whole lot more educated about this situation. So that's where you at now, with Mayo Clinic giving us a little bit more insight on what to do, how to do it, not to take any slack away from the other doctors, but like you said, they are whole research. And we needed someone at that time to figure out what was going on with your body, because before, I'm not cutting you off and let you go back to it, because before, this wasn't your first time going through something in your body. The first time we were given news that you had, 6 months to a year to live. And that's when you was going through all that blood pressure. And that's been 18 years ago? It's been quite some time. Had to be, but that was 2005. Yeah, that's been some years. So now, later on, 4 years later from where we are now, you've been in a situation where the doctor was like, hey, ASAP, he needs to get wherever you're going. And you didn't, most men don't like going to the doctor. But you couldn't shake what was going on with you. And that's why I kind of biked up a little bit, because I didn't want you to just go into the whole spiel of where you are now, because you're kind of going ahead of me. And I wanted to make sure we cruise this thing down, because we want to make sure people are educated, especially our men. And we have a tendency to think, oh, I'm strong. Because you was going to the gym, right? And you was working out. But you was like, I can't catch my breath. I usually can shake if I'm not feeling good. But, babe, it's just something going on with me. God miraculously healed your body way back then when they gave you 6 months to a year to live, because that was also during the time you was going through with the blood pressure. Other things was going on. They thought they saw cancer and all this other stuff, and your labs was just chaotic everywhere. And that was the process when you was saying how they was just throwing medicine this way and that way after you, and it was shutting down your organs. Okay. So now we're up until before we decided to do everything else. You was working and you came home one day and you was like, babe, I don't feel good. You need to make me an appointment. I just can't shake what I'm feeling. You remember that?
I remember it.
And so I was like, if this black man come in and say, listen, if your husband, your son, your nephew, cousin, whoever he is, tells you he do not feel good and he needs to go to the doctor, don't look at him and be like, you know we don't go to no doctor, boy. Drink this sea moss tea and you'll feel better. Please, 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 please get educated and take them to the doctor. They know they're not feeling well. And Jesus says it best, right? When he say the sick has need of a physician. So if they know they're not feeling good inside, take them to the doctor. And so we made this appointment. You went to the doctor, did the labs. The next day you went back to work. You was out somewhere and they said they was going to call us to let us know whatever. The doctor's office called us and follow up because the young lady who was supposed to call us, she sat there and said, oh, I have your file right here and I was going to get ready to call you. Hold on one moment. And it had been probably like a day or so. And I was like, well, they said it was going to call us right back. So we called the checkup. Well, what happened? You say you was going to return, blah, blah, blah. Nothing ever happened. And they opened your file and said, we are so sorry. Your files had stat on it. That means urgency, wherever he's doing, go immediately to the hospital. And so you were out working. And I was like, well, he got to go to the hospital, not knowing the severity of what was going on. So take me to that point of me calling you, telling you have to go to the hospital. And the doctor say, go, like ASAP, come for wherever you at. Because the doctor even called me and said, I don't care if he's driving the truck. He needs to come in. So explain to me what's going on with you mentally, physically, and did you even think it was going to be so severe?
Well, I didn't think it was going to be severe. My thought process was basically like parents, all these doctors just trying to get some money out of us now, what they trying to conjure up. Basically, I didn't think it was anything serious. Not to the point where they talking about operating on me and all that or other crazy stuff. And then when they came in there and started telling me about labs and what they was going to do and how they sold it to me was they said, well, you're only going to be on dialysis for about 6 months. And then once we clean all this junk out your body should go back to normal and, blah, blah, blah. That's what they sold me. And it's only been 4 years now and I'm still on it. But, with this catheter, it's a day-to-day thing. It changed your whole life and what you do and how to do you. It's just a relearning process all over how to live and how to take care of your body and how you have to shower and you can't get wet in the rain and you can't go swimming. And I mean, it's an inconvenience.
Inconvenience emotionally. How do you feel emotionally? A lot of times, I don't consider myself your caregiver. I really don't. I know that's what they label on the paper as a caregiver, but I really don't see myself as your caregiver because you are, to me, I totally often forget what you're going through because of how you carry yourself, how you take care of yourself. And a lot of times I was like, well, baby, I forgot, I don't see nothing but you being healed. Not to say, oh, I'm not in touch with what you're going through, but it's just how you live. You have this little saying that you say all the time when something happened. And I said I wasn't going to mention it because that's what we're talking about. I don't know him to be nothing else. You have this little saying every time I say, God did this, God did that. You're so settled in there. And I be thinking like you're going to like, woohoo, yes, thank you, Lord, hallelujah. You just look at me so calmly and you be like, I don't know him to be nothing else. Or you would say, I didn't expect anything different, And it's so different from when I first met you to I'm this little G God to it's like God is like the most present. He takes that main spot in your life. So how do you deal with the emotional roller coaster? Even though you don't know him to be nothing else, like peace. So how do you deal with the emotional roller coaster of waiting? How do you deal with the emotional roller coaster of I gotta go to work? Not to mention, you get up faithfully and make it to work on time. You got these Lord Jesus help me. You got some people, because I gotta make sure I say this right. You got some of these Negroes that can't even get up and wipe their behind and go to work because they lazy. I'm sorry. And it's just the truth. But I look at you and you make no excuse. Like me, I would have been one of them Negroes. I would have been in the bed saying, I can't make it to work today. I'm just being honest. So it's like, it makes me look at you in a light of knowing that this gotta be the Lord, because there's nowhere in the world that I myself can endure it. And you have to take dialysis early in the morning and you get up 4:30. No. 3:50, right? Mm-hmm. And you go get on the machine because you got to drive. It's about 45 minutes away from the house. And you stay there. You're on the machine for like 4.5 hours.
4 hours.
4 hours. You get off the machine. You get to work at what time?
About 9:50.
About 9:50. And you go to work in the heat, in the cold, and you deliver these packages. And you drive these trucks. And I mean, one of the things the doctor said, he said, man, you're healthy. We just got to find you a kidney, And he was like, you need to just talk about it. You need to do this. And I was like, I asked you and you said, what you think? I said, well, you never allowed this situation to define you. So I'm going to leave it up to you. So when you decide to come on the podcast, I was like, it doesn't define him. So please don't think we're out here like, hey, screaming, we need somebody to donate a kidney, even though we do. But letting you understand that this does not define him because who he is in God, So how do you deal with that? Go back to that question. 4:30 in the morning, you getting up. I get up. 3:50. Get me straight. 3:50 in the morning, you get up. You leave from there. And then you come home. And sometimes you don't get home till late. It could be 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock. Just depends, right? And then you do that all week. And then you go on the weekend for dialysis as well. And then you rest up. And then you, of course, church and everything else. But I'm sure mentally, you have to have those moments. How do you deal with the moments?
Wow. Well, I don't deal with the moments.
Oh.
It's like, when I wake up in the morning, first thing I say is, good morning, Jesus. How you doing, Father, Lord? I thank you for watching over and all night long. God, as I begin the day, I begin with you telling you thank you. Order my steps on today. Make every crooked place straight, every stumbling block a stepping stone. Allow me to walk in victory on the day, God. And bind the hand of the enemy on all hands, God. And just give me a good day in Jesus' name. And then my feet hit the floor. Well, don't hit the floor. They hit my my bedroom slippers. And then I just go in the closet. I said, well, God, I'm a little tired today, but, we going to do it. And I just start getting ready. And then once I get ready, I say, well, God, you on. I wake you up or kiss you on the cheek and tell you I'm gone, or you snoring too hard, I just walk on out the door.
Now, sometimes I am up. And then sometimes I do cook you stuff before you leave.
Okay. So, And I go and I get on the machine, and one of the doctors told me to go to sleep while I'm there, so just being there on the machine won't bother me as much. But I be watching them people in there. I can't go to sleep, and I don't know what they doing to the machine, what they putting in the machine, what type medicine. I'm just that observant. I have to know. But when I get off the machine, I be tired and drained. Sometimes they'll run the machine faster than normal. They'll run it like 450. One time they put it up to 500.
And what does those numbers mean? Because no one...
Those numbers mean if they putting it on 500, that means 500 milliliters per minute is going through that machine, cleaning your blood.
Okay.
It's like, how can I put it? It's like basically pressure washing.
Oh.
The higher the PSI means the more power.
Gotcha.
And see, with this catheter that I have, with them pulling so hard, this is connected directly to my heart.
Gotcha.
So it's like it's putting a strain on my heart when they got it at 500.
Right.
My initial doctor in Jacksonville told them don't run it over 350.
Right.
But where I'm at now, they running at 400 sometimes, 450, and sometimes 500. But the way the tubes are, they're wearing down, so they can't run it as high, which is a good thing. They just run it at 350. But with them cleaning your blood, it's taking all the proteins out. It's taking the water out. Basically the machine strips everything out of your blood. Mm-hmm. And by stripping everything out of your blood, that's why they tell you when you get off the machine, eat you some meat, some protein, or drink, something like a vitamin water, something that puts something back into your body. Now, a lot of times, I get to work, I be tired, I be weak, I be dizzy, but I just say a prayer and say, God, you with me. God, you said that I can live as long as I want to live. So, God, I'm living, and I know you ain't going to allow me to go out like this. And I just sit down there for a few minutes or whatever, and then I just start working real slow till I, build myself up to where I need to be and how I need to work. And I just go through the day just thanking him and, think about other stuff, think about football, listen to the football channel.
Oh, so you not like deep. You ain't, you just thinking about life. And
I'm a man.
Yeah, okay, all right.
I do the football and the news, some news, because some of it be depressing, but most of the football, how the draft going, how the contracts going, who getting signed, who getting cut, So, that's basically what I do. And then when I come home, I say, God, I thank you for another day. I can lay this tired body down. And that's it.
Yeah. And a while back, I remember someone asking me a question. Well, why isn't he not home? And he could be on disability and he could do this and he could do that. And I was like, they don't know him. They don't know you. You're not the disability type that gonna stay home. And I'm just gonna be honest. You're not gonna live based on what you feel. Because you're full of this energy, and because you have always believed that you are like this little G God, and you don't. Your condition doesn't dictate who you are in God. And I believe working for you is just a part of your makeup. That is therapy for you, However, when you retire, you retire. You ain't going to be like, this my therapy. You're going to be like, deuces, But in this state, in this time, in your life, you don't see any reason why you need to be home, not working, taking disability checks, and, not to mention, listen, you were on dialysis and God healed you from the worst type of COVID ever, that they wanted to put you on that thing that keeps you alive. But God kept you alert enough to tell them what? No, do not put that on me. No, I'm going to fight this. And I remember saying to the doctors, if you let him come home, his body would heal itself. But we're going to talk about the healing of the body a whole nother day, another time. I have so enjoyed you being on here. We're going to give you updates Not every week, but we will be back and we will return. Thank you so much, honey, for just giving a little glimpse into your life of where you start and where you begin and where you're finishing. And it's always in God. So before we leave, I just wanted to leave just a little room. If it's something pressing on your heart that you will love to say, or something that you know God it has been dealing with you or saying to you, he's shaking his head no. But I just believe, you know how they say in church, I'm going to, you know how they would like pull on your anointing. I'm going to pull on your anointing. And I just believe that you have a word before you leave for the people, something simple. Can you just share? It could be simple. Just give us something simple that you think that we need to just rest in at this time in life.
All I can say is just rest in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not to your own understanding, but in all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path.
That's enough. So you heard it. You heard it. So again, thank you again for coming on to the P.O.S.T, the power of sticking together. Like he said, trust in the Lord. Don't lean to your own understanding. Acknowledge him, and he's going to direct your path. Now that's power. Join us again next week for another encouraging word that will make you check yourself before you wreck yourself.